Well, good afternoon, folks. You folks might be wondering what I've been up to the last couple of months, but I've been halfway staying busy. As you can see, I got the old multicolored 4010 hooked onto a weird-looking contraption. My son went down to Georgia and purchased this about 3 weeks ago. It's a sprig digger made by Bermuda King. Bermuda grass is propagated by planting either seed or sprigs, and the variety that we like, it's a hybrid, so the seed are not viable. So he went down there, and the old thing was a little bit less than desirable, but he said he needed to get one because that was the key to his destiny. So he brought it back home, and we unloaded it and parked it here in the yard. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of piddling around on it. You might can see some improvements on it. That right there was the tension adjuster. They had a piece of cast iron in a L shape that bolted onto a little piece of angle iron right there, and it was in two pieces, and the pulley was kind of dancing around on those belts, up and down, up and down, up and down, and the belts was kind of running one way or the other way. So I went to the scrap pile and pulled me out a substantial piece of angle iron, and took my steel saw and sawed it down into shape, and took it in and put it in the mill, and figured out where the holes had to go, and bored me a couple of holes, a couple of 5/8 holes, and a 3/4 hole, and a 1/2 inch hole, and brought it out here and bolted it on, and then added a foot on it to give it some stability. And there's got another piece behind it that's just been added to it. That's because that 3/4 rod is the only piece that keeps that pulley stable. So I put a backing bar behind it, made out of a piece of 1/2 inch by 2 inch with a piece of 5/8 by 1 inch to go up against the pulley assembly and kind of keep it in the courtroom. And the hitch, you'll notice that the hitch is all been redone because it was all tore up. And these two slides right here that go on the ground that control your depth of your dig, they were non-existent. That piece of 3/4 by 3 inch flat iron right there was kind of bent back, so we had to cut it off, and I took it in and put it in the press and straightened it back out. And it's got a lot of little war items on it. That piece back there was missing completely. So the elevator stand was two pieces of pipe slid inside each other, and when they took the conveyor off to load it and bring it home, that pipe broke off the axle. It was just kind of welded on the axle. So I said, you know, I don't like that. So I made my brackets and bored my holes and bought my bolts, and to add a little bit of strength to that axle, I kind of found out that a piece of 4-inch channel iron will fit right on top of that axle nice and snug. So we got that in there. We've had to see those two rollers right there. They look like gears. So McMaster Car sells discs like that. I thought those were about $6 a piece. All I had to do was bore a hole in them and put them on the shaft. And we're getting ready to dig some sprigs. I got a couple of more bearings to replace on it. I had to redo the power takeoff shaft up there. It was U-joint and it was non-existent. And the PTO shaft on the tractor, it almost had so much bow in it, it almost knocked you out the seat. So we had a lot of PTO parts that we had when we run the peanut combine. So we went in there and looked in our repertoire, and we had enough parts to build a nice, good PTO shaft. We had to order that yoke that was on the end right there, and it come all the way from Oregon. And as you can see, that is a healthy PTO shaft. I know I ain't got no shields on it, but I'm smart enough to stay the hell out of there when it's running. So if it's gonna get me, it's gonna have to reach out and get me. So that's what I've been up to, folks. We had to put a new cylinder on it. I put some new lines on it. And she'll be ready to dig by this weekend. The old 4010, she's ready to go, and I'll show you how good she's ready to go. There's my first set of battery boxes that I built for this tractor. I built another set for the other one. Make sure it's in part. Let me find the button. Give $800 for the old tractor. The engine was locked up. We tore it apart, sent the head out and had it redone. Put a 4020 engine kit in it. Worked some magic on the connecting rod bearings and mains, and put her back in service. We had to split it to fix the PTO in it, and repair the brakes in it. The brakes on the right side was all messed up, so we split it. I split it right there at the transmission housing, and rebuilt the power takeoff shaft assembly in it, and then pulled the axle housing off of it and rebuilt the brakes in it and put her back together, and now she's ready for Betty. So that's about the way what I've been doing here lately, folks. It's not real wet around here. It's a little bit damp, but not real wet, but it'll do. So you folks take care and have a nice day, and I appreciate you watching. If you want to comment, drop a little comment, because I like joining with you. So like I always say, look for me when you see me.